Marvel Team Abilities Avengers Initiative. Characters using the Avengers Initiative team ability treat hindering terrain as cleared terrain for movement and line of fire purposes. So let me give you an example of using the Avengers Initiative team ability. Thor has it. He is trying to draw line of fire to Storm. Storm is in hindering terrain and she has stealth. So line of fire to her is blocked because she's in stealth if you cannot see through hindering terrain. But because Avengers Initiative ignores hindering terrain for line of fire purposes and movement purposes, Thor can actually draw line of fire to Storm. He can actually see Storm in stealth or in hindering terrain. Also, when Thor makes a ranged attack on Storm, Storm would normally get a +1 to her defense if she's been shot from range because she gets the bonus from hindering terrain. But because Thor ignores hindering terrain, Storm would not get a bonus to her defense when she's attacked from range because the attack went through hindering terrain, but he ignores hindering terrain, so there is no bonus to her defense. I hope this helped you out a little bit with learning Avengers Initiative. It's also the same as Superman team ability. The final thing I want to cover is movement purposes. Thor is a flyer, so he can fly over hindering terrain or out of hindering terrain without any penalties. But let's just say if he was a grounded character, traditionally if you did not have this team ability, you do not ignore hindering terrain, so you would come into hindering terrain and you would have to stop, same as water. But for Avengers Initiative, he would just be able to walk right through it and ignore the hindering terrain. Also, when you leave hindering terrain, you half your movement coming out of hindering terrain. But because he has Avengers Initiative, he would not half his movement. He also is a flyer, so that would not be affected as well. But let's just say he was a grounded character. If he was, and he has Avengers Initiative, he would not be affected if he moved out of hindering terrain. Team ability, which these two guys have, they can move, they still get an action token, but it doesn't count towards the 3. So you would still